Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to start our very first lecture of biology book, grade 10. So this is the unit 10 and the topic for this lecture is the chapter topic is gaseous exchange, and we will learn from page 1 till page 6 from biology 10. So let's start the introduction. All living organisms, they need energy for sustaining activities, right? So there is a life source of energy which everyone knows, which is sunlight, right? So there are different organisms present in all part of the world, like human beings, bacteria, plants. They all utilize the sunlight, and then they convert the sunlight into different organic molecules, like so that's why I mention it as X molecule, with the release of energy along with oxygen sometimes. But there are two main phenomena in terms of gaseous exchange which occur or take place in multicellular organisms, like photosynthesis as well as respiration. So you have to differentiate between photosynthesis as well as respiration. For this, I just tried to summarize in simple terms what is respiration. Respiration takes place in all living organisms. It utilizes oxygen to break down organic molecules into carbon dioxide and water to release energy. So what respiration is doing, it utilizes the environmental oxygen and it converts into simple molecules like carbon dioxide and water. So what is respiration? In respiration, as I have been mentioned you guys, that it utilizes environmental oxygen to convert complex molecules into simpler molecules like carbon dioxide and water, as well as the energy is released, but that energy is released at cellular level. You cannot see that energy from your own naked eye because it happens at the cellular levels. There are different types of respiration, and one is the aerobic respiration and the other is anaerobic respiration. The aerobic respiration, in aerobic respiration, oxygen is required for oxidation of food molecules. Over here you can see the like complex molecule, like for example glucose. It utilizes oxygen and it converts glucose into carbon dioxide, water and energy. However, in terms of anaerobic respiration, the oxygen is not required for anaerobic respiration. This kind of anaerobic respiration takes place usually in unicellular microorganisms, for example bacteria, and some kind of other unicellular microorganism like algae and fungi as well. So in anaerobic respiration, there is no oxygen, okay? No oxygen. But in aerobic respiration, oxygen is utilized and it converts into X carbon dioxide, X water and energy. So what is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is just the opposite of respiration. It utilizes this carbon dioxide and water and makes glucose along with oxygen. This photosynthesis, it happens in the green plant, right? So there is another term which is known as what is gaseous exchange. I mean, most of you must have an idea of what are the gases and how they are exchanged in our body with the surrounding. So the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between organisms and its environment is known as the gaseous exchange. It usually takes place by the help of diffusion. This is the normal physical biological terms. You guys must have aware in the junior classes that what is diffusion. I mean, the molecules, they start moving from higher concentration towards lower concentration, right? For example, the environment is full of oxygen. It has a lot amount of oxygen. So oxygen, in case of human beings, oxygen is being acquired from the environment and it is being exhaled by the human body. However, the amount of carbon dioxide out of the environment or out of the human body is very low. So the carbon dioxide is released. This is known as the gaseous phenomena or gaseous exchange phenomena. There is another term in biology in terms of human physiology, you can say. This is known as breathing. So this is the physical process to move air into and out of the body. Oxygen is taken and carbon dioxide is released. So when we do breathing, what we are performing in terms of physiology, that we are taking oxygen from out of the body and we release carbon dioxide in terms of it. For this activity, what sort of organs is being used in human body or in other higher organisms? For example, lions, cats, and cows, they use lungs for breathing purpose. So how the breathing or gaseous exchange is taking place, that in air or the environment, the amount of oxygen is very high. However, the amount of carbon dioxide is very low in environment. However, in terms of living body, for example, the blood has the lower concentration of oxygen while it has a higher concentration of carbon dioxide. So the gaseous exchange between carbon dioxide and air takes place respectively. So in the activity 10.2, what is gaseous exchange in plants? All plant cells perform respiration. However, the green part of the plant, they usually perform photosynthesis. The greener parts, they are the leaves and the stem, and most of the photosynthesis is taken place in the leaf due to the structure of the leaf, which is highly different from the stem, though the stem is also green, but most of the photosynthesis is taken place in the leaf. So what is photosynthesis? Leaves use carbon dioxide, which is a byproduct of respiration, as well as from the environment. They can utilize carbon dioxide, which is released in the environment, as well as a byproduct of respiration, which is taking place in the plants. However, in respiration, what is happening, that leaves use oxygen, which is produced from photosynthesis as a result of the photosynthesis. So, if for simplicity, I wrote these formulas to differentiate between photosynthesis and respiration. In photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water, they react together to make glucose as well as oxygen. However, in respiration, what is happening, that oxygen as well as the glucose, these two molecules, they are being utilized and they are being again reconverting into carbon dioxide and water. So there is an exchange of two main molecules, that is carbon dioxide and oxygen. In respiration, oxygen is utilizing. In photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is utilizing as a gas. As you know that there is no photosynthesis at night, and however all cells carry respiration at night. So these are, you can call it as the differences between respiration as well as the photosynthesis. So where the gaseous exchange in plants is happening, so there is an outer surface of the leaf, which is known as the epidermis. Over there, this gaseous exchange happens or take place. So just to differentiate you guys, over here you can see that what is happening in case of the plant, that during daytime the carbon dioxide is being utilized by the plant while the oxygen is going to release out of the plant body. While at night, what is happening, the contrast is going to take place, that carbon dioxide is releasing, however the oxygen is being consuming from the environment. So what actually is happening over here, if you just recall the definition of photosynthesis and the respiration, so over here the photosynthesis is going to take place because the carbon dioxide is going to utilize during the daytime. However, at night, what is happening, that the carbon dioxide is going to release from the plant, however the oxygen is going to be taken from the plant. It means that the respiration, these are the two key molecules to differentiate and to remember, to memorize that oxygen is a respiratory molecule, while the carbon dioxide is a photosynthetic molecule. So you can easily remember or recall in your mind. Okay, so over here you can see this is the leaf structure. There are certain openings within these are the microscopic opening through which the air enters and out of the leaf cell, which is known as the stoma. This is the biological name of this microscopic tiny pore or the vesicle. Okay. So in general terms, how you define the gaseous exchange, over here you have seen most of the time that the farmers, they do digging of the soil. It increases the air spaces between soil and the roots for better gaseous exchange. So this is known as the tilling of the soil, which is in Urdu हम नॉर्मली वो जब किसान जो है ज़मीन में खुदाई करता है उसको tilling कहते हैं. We call it as tilling. So the 10.3 activity, in 10.3 activity, okay, this is the gaseous exchange in humans. So how have you ever realize how the human beings, they are going to breathe within the body? So they utilize two main components of their anatomy. One is the lung and the other is the air passageway. So what is the air passageway? This is the lung over here. This is a series of, you can say, this is the organic structures, or you can say these are the different organs, the organelles, or you can say the smaller structures present in the lungs, or the whole passageway through which this air passageway is made up of. It contains nasal cavity, nostril, epiglottis. The epiglottis, it looks like the lid of a structure, and then there is another small tube-like structure which is known as the pharynx, and the below pharynx is the larynx, which is also known as the voice box through which your sound is produced, right? Then there is a searing or ciliated and secreted structure. It helps in the filtration, moistening and warming the incoming air, and it contains 16 to 20 C-shaped or cartilaginous rings to prevent collapsing and keep passage open. This ciliated structure is known as the trachea, or you can call it as windpipe. Then the windpipe, it enters into a small hole which is known as the bronchus, where this tubular structure is divided into two subparts. One enters into either of the lungs, right? Then there is a pleural cavity over here, you can see, which surround the lung area, and below the lung there is a membranous structure which is known as the diaphragm. Here you can see this is the left lung, this is the right lung. So this whole structure, this whole biological structure is known as the air passageway. To memorize you guys, or to make it easy, over here you can see nasal cavity is entering into pharynx, pharynx is entering into the larynx or the voice box. The larynx or the voice box is connecting to the connecting tube which is known as the trachea or the windpipe. Then this windpipe is further subdivided into two branches of bronchi. Each bronchus enter lungs of its own side. Then these bronchi also has C rings or cartilaginous rings, but these C rings, which I have mentioned previously, their function and their job as well. But these C rings which are present in bronchi, they are smaller than the trachea or the tracheae. Then each bronchus divides and subdivides into smaller bronchi. Small bronchi attain diameter of at least 1 millimeter or less than 1 millimeter, which they call as bronchioles. The bronchioles, they have no cartilage. So there is a difference between, what is the difference between bronchi and bronchioles? Bronchi has C rings, but bronchioles, they have no cartilaginous structure. There is no soft bone present in the bronchioles. Each bronchiole ends in a duct. The duct opens in a cluster of pouches which are also the grape-like structures, so the bunches of the grapes. Each pouch is microscopic structures, which is known as the alveolus, or in plural form we call as the alveoli. So these are the alveoli. These are the microscopic structure where the actual gas exchange takes place. The alveoli, these are the thin walled and they provide surface for the gaseous exchange. The actual gas exchange takes place in the alveoli. These walls, they are covered with the blood capillary networks where the gas exchange, that is the carbon dioxide and oxygen, it takes place. Because the respiration takes place in case of human respiratory system, so over here the oxygen is entered into the alveoli from the environment, and the carbon dioxide is released from the blood capillary, and there is an exchange between the alveoli and the. So the second part of the respiratory system is the lungs. This is the lungs. They are present in the chest cavity. They are enclosed by the chest wall. There is a thick muscular structure known as the diaphragm below the lungs. I have shown you guys in the picture. You have to check over there. Each lung is enclosed in a double membrane called as pleura. The membrane name is known as pleura. It contains a fluid which is known as a pleural fluid. This fluid makes the movement of lungs very easy. Like when we breathe, when we take the oxygen like this, so our chest cavity, it contracts. So the contraction of the lungs, it takes place with the help of this pleural fluid along with the ribs as well. So it prevents the lungs from breaking. And while when we release or when we exhale the oxygen like out of the body, so the expansion of the lungs, it happens, and this fluid, it helps in it. Thank you very much for today. The lecture is enough. See you tomorrow. See you next time.